So this is one of my, like, I would say deepest, most integral takes. Like, if TikTok goes down, then this is the one, right? So we're gonna talk about what I call the shock constellation, right? It's a multi-ethnic rupture. We're witnessing a convergence of two distinct betrayal narratives, right? Black and white, right, into a singular collapse of state legitimacy. This is not a revolution of slogans, it's a rupture of trust. So for black people, it's the betrayal of the builders, right? The essential became the erase. The public systems collapse. We see political puppeteering. We see tech-first policing, middle-class land laws. Like, enclaves like Prince George's County are financially erased. State impunity, surveillance over schools, education is replaced with behavioral tracking and criminalization of mutual aid. The message is really the same. You never intended to let us live free. You only let us serve, right? But white people are actually in a very similar position. They're in a betrayal of believers, right? So the middle class is being decimated. Automation is absorbing their jobs, and they're going to eat job loss nonstop from this point on. Like debt extraction, the healthcare scam, their children's future is lost, right? The youth inherent burnout, not opportunity on their end. They have political betrayal. Both parties serve capital and don't even serve them at this point. They have weaponized patriotism. They're told to sacrifice while billionaires float, and they see a collapse of police mythology. Law enforcement protects wealth, not life. The American dream wasn't just broken. It really wasn't meant for them either. But here's where the constellation kind of connects between the two. There are corporate bailouts making people suffer. A resource collapse with unequal relief. There's mass surveillance indiscriminately applied. Police as enforcers, not protectors. Children as data, not citizens. Silence of the state in every crisis. And there's really a merge point. The system is no longer racist versus not racist. It is simply extractive. So race as we know it is unraveling, not because society has evolved, but because the tool no longer really works. So the purpose of race was really just to justify enslavement, right? Like it was a legal hierarchy that embedded whiteness as a privilege. And then by the 1900s to the 2000s, it was a class buffer to prevent uprisings through racial division. But in the 2000s to today, we really see a surveillance differentiator, right? Surveillance differentiator. I hope y'all getting it. It's designed to target more efficiently. Today's racial classifications are being replaced by data profiling, financial compliance, and behavioral predictability. Why call you black when I can just call you a threat? So the system really doesn't care what color you are, only if it can track you, right? If it can track you, it's concerned about you. If it can't track you, you're outside of the picture. But this is actually one of those things where it needs to get even deeper than this, right? This is a spiritual collapse, right? We're seeing the consequences of exile, right? As ontological disintegration, right? And ontological, depending on how you say it, is really just the nature of self, right? So in African societies, exile was not really just punishment. It was a kind of death. A removal from your purpose, your people, your story. The West industrialized this process, right? So for black people, chattel slavery was the first engineered exile. For white society, now capitalism is exiling them from community, meaning, and even their own children's future. The sin has echoed back, right? And here's one of the things that makes exile so corrupt, right? Is that by removing a person's humanity, right? By creating conditions where a person's humanity could be removed, the industrial nature of the white man at the time saw that opportunity and was like, so all of you can be dehumanized? This is that same piece I want y'all to stay in mind, because this is what the state is saying to white people right now. The sin has echoed back, right? So white communities, having guarded the gates of empire, now find themselves locked outside. Not because they've become black. I don't want you to think that. Not because they become black, but because the system no longer needs their loyalty. So here's really where this constellation event happens, right? The overwhelming silence of the state. It's going to be deafening this time, though. When both betrayal constellations converge, a moment of recognition will happen, right? We are all being used. We're just being categorized differently. But we're all being used. In that moment, something powerful really becomes possible. Not really through unity, not really unity through slogans. Not diversity through branding, but refusal through clarity, right? A shared whisper, really across skin tones and zip codes. If they won't save us, we stop waiting. Because that's when you leave together, not in a rage, but in a rhythm, right? So the humanization didn't die, it was upgraded. But if we listen to people who survived the old version, we might escape the new one. And this is why sometimes, even in the conversation about if we just unite all black people, if we put a Caribbean, a person from Ghana, a Nigerian, and let's even include Burkina Faso, and somebody from Sudan, and a black person, and you put them all in a room in America, and you told them all to fight for rights. The black person would have secured rights for all of them. Right. If they knew no information, just what they knew about themselves, they would have secured rights for all of them. The other groups, knowing what they know about themselves, would have declared separation. This is the part of the journey that spiritually transcends black people from the same type of blight and the political laziness that allowed ontological erasure to run rampant in Africa, and you could still see it. See, when a person's gay and they're black, and a person's gay and they're Africa, in their home nations, there's two different results. And one of them results from a persistent, constant nature of exile, and the other one, it echoes exile, but we understand at some point we're black. We see beyond that, right? And that's not to say anything's above or below, but it is to say there's a spiritual distinction between understanding what it means to be exiled and understanding the, I would say, value. I'm tempted to say that, but the belonging of the collective. Just because you belong doesn't mean you have the right to tell someone they don't. Right? Like that's a privilege you're bestowing upon yourself. That is pride. And that level of pride allows conditions like this to breathe in a monstrous form. And this is something really deep we're going to get into. In the video after this, we're going to talk about what the government could do to respond against this. I want y'all to see it. We're going to talk about what the government would do to respond against this. Like a new GI Bill. Let's say we all get a new GI Bill. Let's talk about that. We're going to get into that. That's the next.